even Mommy's shadow is fat.
Those words cut right through my wife, Jenny, like a knife. Just moments ago, her smile was as wide as the Grand Canyon as we sat nestled all together on the sofa, showing our two youngest girls how to make shadow puppets. But after my wife unwittingly walked in front of the flashlight on her way to the bathroom, well, she projected her lumpy shadow across the wall, and our littlest blurted out those 6 brutal words. All of the joy, happiness, and pride was sucked away from Jenny's face immediately, in an instant.
Look, even Mommy's shadow is fat.
Tears flooded down Jenny's ruddy, swollen cheeks, and I'll never forget the dazed look that crept into my wife's eyes at that moment. The look of a wild animal who spots the headlights of an oncoming car after it's already too late. I knew my wife was finally broken. Because while it might seem like a small thing, the truth is everything had been leading up to this point. In the past, 5 years ago, Jenny tried keto, Atkins, fasting, detoxes, HIIT workouts, cleanses, Pilates, yoga, cardio. She'd taken pills, counted calories, mediated, and starved herself. And yet, for every 10 weight loss miracles that Jenny tried each year, they all seemed to lead back to the same disappointing place. Her staring angrily at the scale. Another 10 pounds of shameful, new fat plastered against her bones. And the way she struggled to get out of bed in the morning, the way she was frequently too tired to leave the house, run errands, or even make love. Well, the way I'd catch her staring into the bathroom mirror, her hands squeezing slabs of fat that hung from her belly like flesh-colored balloons. It had all led to a breaking point, and I thought to myself that my wife, the woman I loved more than anything in the world, was as good as gone. But I was wrong! While the humiliating moment hurt my wife deeply, it also flipped the switch inside of her, filling Jenny with a steely resolve to win. And while none of us realized it at the time, this awful moment was actually a gift from God. The spark that set her off on a completely unexpected journey, climaxing with the discovery of a counterintuitive weight loss secret that would help transform her life. And it's something that could help transform your life too. Because what Jenny found takes all of the BS and lies that you've been told about burning fat and losing weight and conquering your cravings and overeating and throws them right out the window, replacing them with a simple 5-second breakfast trick that was first perfected by a celebrity health specialist who used it to personally lose 113 pounds of visceral fat. And it's something that literally anyone can use, no matter if you're a man or a woman, 18 or 90 years old, or whether you have 14 pounds to lose or 140. This easy breakfast time ritual targets one of the most surprising root causes of belly fat, a stagnant metabolism, your broken hormones, and virtually every other health issue you've been dealing with too. It's got nothing to do with genetics or dieting or even the gym. And yet this simple 5-second breakfast trick allowed my wife to melt 72 pounds of her most hated belly fat, until her fat loss had become so extreme and her transformation so dramatic that even her friends had trouble recognizing her. My wife went from this to this. An insider like me, I couldn't help but feel as though she was aging in reverse. Imagine not just burning 15 or 32 or 66 pounds of the most jealously clinging belly fat, but feeling like you're growing younger in the process too. Imagine your wrinkles vanishing, a beautiful glow returning to your cheeks, and creases and lines fading away, your sleep returning to normal. And imagine yourself waking up each morning energized and motivated to take on the world. If this all sounds too good to be true, like a impossible dream, well, I can understand that, because that's the way Jenny felt too, until she accidentally came across this simple 5-second breakfast trick and found that for the first time since her teenage years, her metabolism was getting faster, allowing her to occasionally eat the same foods that had once terrorized her. Homemade pasta, wood fire pizza, Oreo cheesecake, gooey fudge brownies without regaining as much as 1 pound. Now I'll share exactly what this simple, fast breakfast time ritual is in a matter of seconds. And you'll also see why scientists from places like Harvard and Stanford believe this same breakthrough could also be the secret to a razor-sharp mind, better mood, and greater focus too. Plus, in just a few moments, you'll also see why some scientists believe a once lost city in the Brazilian rainforest could hold the key to ending your worst junk food cravings. The shocking African skinny seed that was found to improve weight loss by a head turning 14 times. And the dark truth about the weight loss industry that I'm willing to bet nobody on earth has ever shared or told you before now. Here's a hint. It's not that diets don't work. It goes way, way deeper than that. So make sure to give me your full attention for the next few moments, please, because if you do, the 5-second breakfast trick that I'm about to share will change your life. Hi there, I'm Thomas Miller. By the way, my wife is Jenny Miller, and we've been blessed with 4 beautiful girls, and we live in a suburb near Houston, Texas. Now, some people might roll their eyes at this next part, but I've always considered myself to be one of the luckiest guys on God's green earth. I'm a high school science teacher, and I love my job, and 4 of my girls are healthy and strong. And Jenny, well, she truly is the love of my life. Me and Jenny's story is one of those high school sweetheart stories that used to be so common, but that you don't see happening here in America so much these days anymore. We met when we were 14, started dating senior year, and have been married for 30 years. I thank the Lord above every single day for bringing Jenny into my life, which is why when Jenny's health started taking a turn for the worst back in late 2017, it scared the living daylights out of me. You see, when I'd first met Jenny, she wasn't skinny, but she was also not that much overweight. She was absolutely perfect. I mean, she was smoking hot, if I'm being real about it. And even into her mid-20s, Jenny's weight had never been something either of us really ever thought about. In fact, if you'd told me back then that Jenny's weight was about to balloon out of control, or that she'd soon suffer from blood sugar fears, high cholesterol, aches and pains, and all those other stuff and symptoms that happen when people grow older, I would have laughed right in your face. Yet sure enough, that's what started to happen. When Jenny became pregnant with our first daughter, Eliza, she really swelled up. But I figured, hey, it's normal. She's carrying a human inside of her, for God's sakes, right? After all, Eliza was born. Jenny didn't have too much trouble losing most of the pregnancy weight. Sure, she was maybe 5 or 10 pounds heavier than before that she'd given birth. It's kind of normal, right? And yes, she would comment to me about how she wished she could drop those extra pregnancy pounds, of course. But overall, neither of us thought it was a really big deal. After the birth of our second daughter, Kimberly, Jenny stayed about 20 pounds heavier than before. And after our third daughter, Peggy, well, that number was closer to 40 pounds. And then for whatever reason, the last pregnancy that Jenny really did a number on her body, let me tell you, because not only did she put on a lot of weight during that, but she just could not lose it afterwards. It's one of those weird things where the weight gain just creeps up on you. It starts with a few pounds, but it doesn't stay just there. And before she knew it and I knew it, my wife Jenny was about 72 pounds heavier than she'd been in her 20s. And with that weight came a whole host of other problems. Jenny's energy and her mood kept growing lower and lower. I mean, maybe you can relate to this in some way. I don't know if you've had the same struggles with your weight, or if it's become more of an issue as you enter into your 30s or 40s. But either way, when you keep seeing your reflection in the mirror getting bigger and bigger and bigger, when your favorite dresses no longer fit, then your new clothes that you bought to replace your old clothes stop fitting too, well, that's when people start treating you differently, looking at you like some homey old person instead of a head-turning object of desire. When it started getting harder and harder to get out of bed every morning because your back hurts, your head hurts, your hips hurts, they ache, and you feel so darn tired, then it's pretty easy to start feeling down and depressed, of course. At least, that's how it was for my wife, Jenny. She said that it felt like her whole life was already over. How tragic. And that maybe she should just be okay with that. Just do her best to raise our girls and hope she made it long enough to meet her first grandchild. I hated hearing Jenny talk like that. But I didn't know exactly what I could do, especially because up until then, Jenny had tried just about everything. You heard of the keto diet, right? Well, she bought keto recipe books and guides. She bought keto pills that were supposed to make the weight loss easier, and she followed all the advice that she read to the T. And while, yeah, she did lose about 5 pounds in her first week, the next week, it was as if she hit the wall. And sure enough, soon after that, every single pound came tumbling back on, and then some more. And then that was just one example. But you name it. Jenny tried it: paleo, Atkins, intermittent fasting, home workouts, yoga, a personal trainer, cardio, a calorie restriction, miracle pills, and hypnosis, etc., etc. This woman tried everything, and yet it seemed like the pattern was always the same. Lose a few pounds in the beginning, feel cautiously optimistic and excited, like maybe this time was different, and then hit the wall, fall off the wagon, and watch the fat come back, roaring back. It was brutal to watch. I felt so bad for Jenny, and frankly, it was getting really hard on our wallet too, because if you've ever tried to lose weight before, I'm sure you know that it is not cheap. Buying organic ingredients, buying potions and powders, and paying for the gym memberships, paying for trainers or coaches, it never stops. Which is why when someone recently told me that weight loss is a $72 billion industry, I can't say that I was surprised at all. So yeah, all of this is to say that when Jenny looked at me, tired, bloodshot eyes, and told me that she just wanted to give up, well, I couldn't blame her. It seemed like all I could do at this point was pray. But it also felt like God wasn't listening to my prayers. We were both at a loss. And then there was that awful night when our 5-year-old daughter Angie said those 6 words,
"Look, even Mommy's shadow is fat."
That's when something inside Jenny snapped, and she made a promise to herself that she was going to find a way to transform her body, her confidence, her life, no matter how difficult or what the stakes were. So the next day, Jenny got to work, scouring the internet for all the newest weight loss trends and discoveries. And she also made an appointment with a local weight loss doctor whose clinic had very good reviews. Well, it became pretty clear quickly that the internet was going to be a dead end. Because while there was a ton of websites and blogs out there hyping up various new miracle breakthroughs, Jenny quickly realized that these folks were all peddling the same tired old gimmicks from 10 years ago, just with different names, packaging, and faces promoting them. And while we both held out the best of hope for the weight loss doctor that Jenny was going to see, honestly, that guy was even worse. She paid that doctor $250 for a visit, but all he said was fewer calories in, more calories out. Made me so darn mad, because that's like going to the doctor when you have chronic migraines and being told, take an aspirin. I mean, come on. We've all tried restricting calories to lose weight, and we all know that just straight up doesn't work. You might lose a few pounds in the first week, but then your stomach starts gnawing and growling, and your head feels disconnected from your body. You grow moody and irritable, right? And ultimately, you end up giving in to some tempting food at a work event, or you have a slice of cake during a birthday party, or you load up on fried chicken and buttery mashed potatoes during a church potluck. Or the nighttime cravings get the best of you, right? The point is, something always happens and your diet never lasts. Instead, you end up overeating and you hate yourself for it, beating yourself up for days. And this cycle just keeps being repeated over and over and over. And finally, a voice inside your head asks, why am I putting myself through all of this? And you don't have a good answer. So you just give up. So yeah. Needless to say, that doctor didn't do anything but take money out of our pockets. And it really stunk, because at this point, well, I could see Jenny growing really frustrated again. And I just didn't know exactly what I could do. We both felt helpless, like we should really just give up. But I guess God really was listening to my prayers after all, because not a week after Jenny's disappointing visit to that crummy weight loss doc, I met the man who would end up saving Jenny's life by giving her a 5-second breakfast trick that changed everything. And I'm sure this man can change your life too. Imagine your cravings gone, eating not a thing, your belly disappearing, your mood improving. I can't overstate how much of an impact this man had on our lives, and I want you to really pay attention to this next part, because what he shared with us has now helped men and women across the country to drop pound after pound of pure fat, which is why I know this will work for you too. It all started at high school, where I teach. Our principal had brought in one of those say no to drugs speakers, you know them, and scheduled a school-wide assembly in the auditorium. Well, I'm all in for keeping kids off drugs, but if I'm honest, during most of the assembly, I was kind of zoning out. Not because the speaker wasn't interesting. His name was Mike Hamilton, and it turned out he had worked with a lot of famous celebrities, including names you'd definitely recognize if I told you them names. So this guy immediately struck out as a vibrant and intelligent being. So I really wanted to pay attention. But I was just so preoccupied with my worries about my wife Jenny that lately I'd been finding it hard to focus on anything, in all honesty. So during the assembly, I got into deep thought. But then, right towards the end, this Mike Hamilton guy said something that made me sit up and take notice. He was answering a question from one of those students, and while I hadn't paid attention to the first part of his response, I tuned in right in time to hear him say, "It's not just drugs, honestly. Heck, the same thing is going on in your brain when you're overweight. Chemically, there's no difference at all. The only difference is it's a lot easier to lose weight. At least you know what you're doing." Well, sure enough, those words grabbed my attention. I didn't even know the entire context here, but if there was even a remote chance that this guy had some idea about how to lose weight, well, I owed it to my wife to ask him. So after the assembly ended, I made a beeline right towards the stage. But by the time I got there and through the sea of high school kids all walking the opposite direction, he was gone. And for the rest of the day, the man's words kept running through my head. The same thing is going on in your brain when you're overweight. It's easy to lose the weight if you know what you're doing. I couldn't think of anything else. And when I got home that evening and told Jenny what had happened, she agreed that we should make an appointment to see him right away. So the very next morning, I called to schedule an appointment. But Mike Hamilton's receptionist told me he was booked out for several months. I wasn't willing to wait that long, no way. And I guess the receptionist must have heard the sheer desperation in my voice, because after my third or fourth plea, she said she could pencil us in for the following Friday. When the day of that appointment finally arrived, both Jenny and I were shaking. I don't know if it was from nervousness, excitement, or both, but it just felt like maybe this time things were going to be different, and we'd finally get some good answers. Inside Mike's office, we were immediately greeted by one of the most stunning women I have ever seen in my life. I'm not saying that in a lustful way, you see, but this woman was probably in her late 30s or maybe even early 40s. Yet she had the clearest, brightest skin that either Jenny or I had ever seen. And she had led us through a hallway towards Mike Hamilton's office, you see. As we were walking, Jenny and I exchanged glances at each other because every single member of the staff that we saw looked just gorgeous, glowing skin, not an ounce of body fat, radiant and confident smiles. I even joked quietly to Jenny that it was like we were on a movie set or something. The receptionist left us sitting in the empty office that I assumed was Mike's. And after a minute or two of waiting, we heard a knock at the door, and Mike Hamilton entered and sat down in front of us. Staring at him from across his desk, it looked like I was looking at the guy probably in his mid-40s, but the only way I could even guess his age was because his face carried a look of distinguished confidence that you just don't see on a younger man. To put it bluntly though, this guy looked amazing, toned and muscular, not a wrinkle on his skin. His eyes were alert and alive. There was something magnetic about him, and the feeling of nervous anticipation continued to grow larger. We briefly exchanged pleasantries, you see. Then Jenny jumped right into things, opening up about all of her difficulties with her weight, you see. How she tried everything, diets, pills, starvation, fasting, you name it, and how nothing seemed to work. After that, I told Mike Hamilton how I was a teacher at the school where he'd given the talk, and how when he'd said the same stuff is going on in the brain of an overweight person as someone on drugs, and that losing weight was easy, that had really intrigued both me and my wife, which was why we scheduled an appointment and made it 90-minute drive to his office. I think some of our stories surprised Mike, indeed, because he said that normally he works with people who suffer with drug problems, gambling issues, and stuff like that. But that since we drove all that way and made an effort to see him, he'd do his absolute best to help. Then Mike opened his desk drawer and pulled out a small framed picture, and he set it right in front of Jenny and me. We looked at it. The man in the picture was severely overweight, probably close to 300 pounds, and his cheeks looked all swollen, as though they'd been like inflated with a pump. Sweat glistening on his forehead, and for a moment I was wondering why Mike was showing us this stranger. But then, suddenly, it clicked. "That's you!" Jenny and I both exclaimed in near perfect unison. And Mike nodded his head, a coy smile forming on his lips. "Yep, that's me," he said. "That photo is from about 9 years ago. At the time I was about 113 pounds overweight. But you look like an entirely different person," Jenny whispered. "What happened?" The smile on Mike's lips only grew. "Like I said at the assembly your husband was at. It was easy," he said, "but I should clarify. Finding the solution was hard. It was really hard. It worked beautifully once I found it, though. Would you like for me to explain more?" Well, Jenny and I both nodded, and I could feel goosebumps forming on my skin as my pulse pounded in my neck like a tribal drum. And with that, Mike Hamilton proceeded to tell us why every single thing we knew about weight loss was dead wrong. If you truly want to burn fat, you don't start with your metabolism or even your stomach, he began. You start with your brain. Seems weird, I know, but let me ask, do either of you know what dopamine is? It's got something to do with pleasure, Jenny said. That's right, Mike continued. Dopamine is a chemical in your brain that makes you feel good. You know, like when you make love, dopamine gets released. When you do a good deed or you help a stranger, dopamine gets released. When you get a massage, dopamine is released. Those are good times for dopamine to get released, but dopamine is also very closely associated with addiction. Why? The way most illegal drugs work is that they tell your brain to release a blast of dopamine, and that blast of dopamine is why people feel short-term pleasure when they do drugs. But it's also why drugs are so dangerous and addictive, because once the dopamine fades away, well, your brain craves more of it, and it tells you to go get another dopamine hit, no matter what the cost. It's almost like the brain holds the body hostage. And here's the thing, it's not just drugs that cause this to happen. It turns out that food, especially the sweet, salty, creamy, crunchy, and buttery junk foods that we try so hard to avoid, well, they've been scientifically shown to trigger the release of dopamine in the brain as well. And that's why I said the same thing is going on in the head of an overweight person, a drug-addicted person. In both cases, there's a war going on. The brain is craving the release of dopamine. And when it doesn't get it, it freaks out. So if you've ever gone on a diet and found that you're having trouble focusing, or you're irritable and snappy at your loved ones, or your sleep is crummy, that's really just your brain's way of saying, hey, I want more dopamine. Let's have some cake. Doesn't that make a lot of sense? And this is also one of the main reasons why diets are so darn hard to follow, because even though you start with the best intentions, you cut out unhealthy foods, your brain does not want to come along for the ride. So soon you find your cravings are growing more and more and more intense. Your sense of smell turns superhuman to the point where your neighbor 3 houses away can't bake cookies without you noticing. Maybe you even become sweaty, moody, exhausted, anxious, and depressed too. The point is, the dieting becomes unbearable, which is why you eventually give in to your cravings and eat that cupcake or the slice of pizza or that bowl of ice cream or whatever it is for you that you struggle with. And this is why, if you've never been able to stick to a diet before, you should know that it really and truly is not your fault. And I'm not going easy on you when I say that I'm telling you a scientific truth. But probably nobody has ever mentioned this to you before, I bet. Instead, the whole weight loss industry is built around victim shaming you, abusing you, telling you it's all your fault, that you're weak, that you're not good enough. Then, propositioning you with BS diets and remedies that are designed for you to fail. Talk about an addictive cycle. It's my personal opinion that weight loss companies are obsessed with keeping you addicted to their crummy solutions. And yet, even though there are more weight loss miracles and more cutting-edge diets today than at any point in history, more humans are overweight than at any point in history too. Doesn't something seem a little bit off here? Well, like maybe the whole system is broken? As Mike Hamilton was explaining all of this, he'd been growing more and more passionate. As he made his last point, he slammed his fist on the desk so loudly it seemed to startle him out of a trance. For a moment, he paused, and I knew this was my chance to ask Mike a question that had been running through my mind while he'd been talking all along. Mike, I get that junk food can be addictive, I said, and that it makes sense that dopamine is responsible for cravings and overeating. And I see how it could make dieting impossible too. But what about burning the fat you already have? Does dopamine tie into that part? I was worried maybe this was a dumb question at first. But Mike's eyes shone brightly, and his smile only grew wider. And that's when he showed us the 5-second breakfast ritual. Something that when we combined it with a healthy diet and exercise would change all of our lives. Okay, so when it comes to weight loss, the real reason we have to start with dopamine is because unless we get support for healthy dopamine levels, we'll always suffer from intense cravings. We'll always overeat, and no diet is ever going to be successful. And that's why, in addition to diet and exercise, one of the major first steps to losing weight is to stabilize your dopamine levels. And once you do get your dopamine level normal and stable, that's when burning fat becomes very easy. With that, Mike opened his desk drawer again. But this time, instead of showing us a photo, he carefully retrieved 5 small Ziploc bags. Each one contained a different brightly colored capsule, a sticker, and a small insert inside. Jenny, I want you to take 1 pill from each of these bags every morning when you wake up for the next 30 days. I promise that if you do it, you will be shocked by what happens. I'd expect you'd probably lose about 12 pounds between now and then, but it could be more, especially with a healthy diet and exercise. And I know you've got more weight to lose than that, but I want you to start with a 30-day commitment, and then we can reassess. Oh, and don't worry, these aren't prescription pills. They're completely natural ingredients that come from all over the world. The first Ziploc bag contains a special extract from the kucha tea leaf that's found in Asia. A major study of the University of San Francisco found that this ingredient supports the consistent production of dopamine, which means you don't have spikes and crashes, or the food cravings that go along with it. And a 2019 study of 24 adults found this ingredient helps to improve mental performance and endurance too. Now, this second bag holds another rare type of tea leaf that was once only available to emperors in China. And this ingredient has 2 purposes. First, it's another nutrient that has been proven in human studies to support stable dopamine levels. So you don't have cravings and you don't overeat. And second, this one has some remarkable fat-burning qualities too. In fact, in one large-scale study of 14 humans that included hundreds of human test subjects, this ingredient was found to support weight loss, reduce weight size, and improve BMI, a major measurement of obesity. And in 2018, the study was published in the Journal of Molecules, which is a major Tier 1 scientific journal. Researchers found that this extract can stop the buildup of fat while promoting a healthy gut. Okay, so this third Ziploc bag right here contains the extract of a tropical fruit that's found deep in the forests of central Africa. And this one of my favorite ingredients on earth, because even the seeds of this fruit has fat-burning power that is just off the charts. Check this out. In 3 random controlled trials that studied the effects of this unique fruit and seeds, one study found that folks who took this fruit extract daily lost a staggering 28.22 pounds, while those who were given a placebo, fake pill, only lost 1.5 on average during the same period. Another found that folks who used this extract lost 9 pounds on average, compared to virtually 0 weight loss in the placebo group. And the third study found that people who took this extract lost 26.23 pounds on average, compared to about 4 pounds in the placebo group. Isn't that amazing? And there are numerous additional studies that all show similar effects for this wonderful, wonderful fruit. Okay now, I don't want to overwhelm you in all honesty with studies, so I'll move through these last 2 pretty quickly here. The 4th bag I'm giving you contains a unique pepper extract first discovered in a lost city in the Brazilian rainforest. And this fruity pepper has been shown in multiple studies to support dopamine levels and burn fat. This includes a 75-person human study out of Baylor University in 2018, where taking this extract was shown to reduce body fat by nearly 6% when compared to a placebo group. And the 5th ingredient I'm giving you is extracted from an ancient grain from the Bronze Age. They found it in tombs of ancient royalty, but it's been mostly forgotten for the last 4,000 years or so, which is really, really tragic, because human studies have shown that consuming this grain reduces cravings for junk food and supports healthy blood sugar too. And in one animal study, it was even found that when mice were given this ingredient regularly, they stored less fat and had a faster metabolism, even though they were force-fed a super high-fat diet. So these ingredients are pretty darn special. And Jenny, it's really vital that you take all 5 of them at the same time. Because remember, losing weight rapidly is a 2-part process. If dopamine levels aren't stabilized, you'll give in to cravings and overeating. And if you don't take the fat-burning ingredients, then, well, obviously you won't lose the unwanted fat like you want to. So again, I want you to commit to taking these ingredients for an entire month. That way, these ingredients can work their full magic in your body. Is that something that you can do, he asked. The room fell totally silent. I was staring intently at Jenny, biting my lip. This was all so much to be taking in at once. Everything Mike Hamilton had been saying made perfect sense to me. I knew this man was quite famous, that celebrities and the ultra-rich trusted him with their health. And it was obvious that these ingredients were very well researched. But still, would they work? And would Jenny really say yes to trying them? All I could do was wait. And when Jenny slowly reached out her hand and took those 5 Ziploc bags from Mike, boom! I felt the strongest blend of panic and relief. Relief that she was really going to try this time. Panic about what would happen if they didn't work. That evening, when we got home, it seemed like maybe Jenny was a little reluctant, and I became nervous. She kept staring at the bags, gently squeezing the little capsules with her fingers as if she was lost in a dream. The next morning though, when I woke up and came down into the kitchen, I saw that the bags were neatly tucked high up in the cupboard, and then when I asked Jenny if she tried them out, she simply said, "Yes. We'll see how it goes," in a way that almost felt anticlimactic. And truthfully, as the first day ended, I was already starting to worry that maybe this Mike Hamilton guy had been leading us on. You see, while Jenny did say that she felt a bit less tired throughout the day, and while she had noticed that her brain fog was a bit better than usual, which was encouraging, there was no earth-shattering difference as far as I could tell. Worse still, when Jenny got on the scale that night, she weighed exactly the same as the night before. And I was so worried that Jenny was going to end up disappointed that I told my wife she could just throw in the towel now if she wanted to. Jenny just shrugged me off though, telling me I committed to taking these for 30 days. So that's what I'm going to do. And thank God Jenny is a more stubborn person than I am, because what happened next was like something out of a fairy tale. On the second day, there still wasn't any real weight loss, but Jenny's mood was markedly better. And she said that her energy had been improved, at least probably for the best it has been in a decade. Even better that night, Jenny felt right asleep, which wasn't normal. And on the morning of day 3, she told me that she'd slept like a baby. When she got on the scale that morning, we both were surprised to see that she lost 2 pounds. That was a great start for sure. But it was nothing compared to what happened on the 4th day, because that's when the weight loss really started to kick in and speed up. The 4th day, Jenny found that she was down another 3 pounds. Within a week, Jenny had lost 3 pounds, although it looked like even more dramatic than that, because her weight loss was really starting to show. Her belly looked toner and tighter, and her dresses were hanging nice and looser. Even her hair looked shinier, and that's nothing compared to what came next. By the time Jenny finished using Mike Hamilton's 5-second breakfast trick, she waved goodbye to another staggering 23 pounds of excess weight, which was incredible, of course, but also presented a big problem, because Jenny was quickly running out of clothes that would fit her. At first, we made the mistake of going to Target and TJ Maxx to get her new outfits. But we quickly realized that was a really expensive blunder, because the weight was continuing to pour off, and there was no reason for Jenny to get new clothing until the weight loss finally stabilized. So Jenny started making daily trips to the local Salvation Army just to get clothes that would actually fit her. And even the folks who worked there were in awe of what they saw, because this same woman kept coming in practically every day looking thinner, healthier, and younger than she had before. They said they've never seen anything like it. And I'm sure they hadn't, because heck, I'd never seen anything like this either. And yet, ultimately, the day came where Jenny stood triumphantly on our bathroom scale, a jaw-dropping 49 pounds lighter. And it wasn't just the weight. Honestly, it seemed like Jenny was growing younger. The dark bags under her eyes were diminishing. There was this lightness to her smile that I hadn't seen in years. It was like someone had taken a magic wand with her wrinkles and creases and waving them away, the signs of old age. Plus, in the first 30 days after she started, Jenny must have gotten back at least 7 years of her youth. Even her hair and her nails looked healthier and shinier. And I don't want to give you too much information here, but let's just say I was having a really hard time keeping my hands off her as well. It was truly remarkable. And one of the most special parts about all of this was the way our little girls started looking at Jenny as the weight came off. I overheard our daughter Kimberly telling a friend at school that her mom was her role model. And our youngest Angie started referring to Jenny as a movie princess. An expression we didn't understand quite at first until Angie explained how the princesses in her favorite movies always became more beautiful as the film continued on. And that's what was happening with her mommy too. Well, that made Jenny feel really darn proud. And when we returned to see Mike Hamilton after that first month, well, we were expecting him to jump out of his seat and do backflips, since Jenny's transformation was really so unique. Instead, though, he just gave us the same smile as before and told us that while he was incredibly happy for Jenny, of course, he actually wasn't all that surprised. You've got to remember, this is the same strategy that I've used to lose 113 pounds myself, he said. And it's not just me. Anyone I give this to, the transformation is always pretty remarkable. So while I am absolutely thrilled for you, Jenny, I can't say I'm surprised. And by the way, you should go check with your primary care doctor when you have a second, because I think you'll be pretty happy with what he has to tell you too. Well, sure enough, Mike was right again. The next time Jenny had her lab work done, her doctor nearly fell over, telling her, "These are the best labs in 25 years. Jenny, I don't know what you're doing, but don't stop." Well, that was music to our ears. And it wasn't long until others were all begging to know Jenny's secret too. Within months, Jenny had lost a staggering 72 pounds of visceral, hated fat. And Jenny's girlfriends, folks at church, complete strangers at the supermarket, everyone was noticing how beautiful Jenny looked and how she glowed, how her body was, the way she exuded sexiness and confidence like a prom queen. It was fun to watch. And at this point, we both knew that we needed to get Mike's discovery out to the public for sure, because if it could do those wonderful things for someone like Jenny, who had tried everything over the last 10 years with no results to show, then we knew this could help countless men and women just like her too. So we returned to Mike Hamilton's office for a third time, determined to convince him to take his discovery out to the world. We thought it would be an easy sell for sure, and we were quite shocked when at first he flat out refused. He said that while he was completely thrilled for Jenny, his main work was as a health professional, and that helping beat addiction was such an important life-saving job. So he didn't want to abandon his life's calling. Makes sense, and we both respected it. But what Jenny quickly pointed out to Mike is that the simple 5-second breakfast trick that he showed her was equally as important. It saved my life, Jenny said. And there's no doubt it will save the lives of countless others too. That made Mike pause and reconsider. And when me and Jenny told him that we'd handle everything for him, sourcing the 5 ingredients from the most pristine locations across the earth, finding a U.S. manufacturer who could take the ingredients and combine them into a single, easy-to-swallow pill, building this website, putting up advertisement, getting the message out, and that all he needed to do was keep an eye out for ways to make his formula even better. Well, Mike finally signed on, and we are so happy he did, because that's when Alive was born. Let me tell you direct from my heart, if you're ready to drop pound after pound of fat, stop your cravings, and stop overeating to end the cycle of failed dieting, say goodbye to the sinister fat that's been stalking your body since your 20s, well, Alive is the answer you've been looking for. It's the only weight loss alive in the world that targets one of the real causes of your cravings and struggles, dopamine. And it's also loaded with proven fat-burning ingredients that are backed by real science conducted on real humans. Even better, every single bottle of Alive is manufactured right here in the United States, in a state-of-the-art facility that is Good Manufacturing Practices certified and also FDA registered. And we're spared zero expense when it comes to the ingredients that you'll find inside Alive. Every capsule is organic, vegetarian, non-GMO, and contains absolutely zero fillers. Alive flat out works. And the ingredients inside are already helping women across the United States more to see real long-term weight loss. Even folks who used to think they were a lost cause and there is zero reason you can be successful. From the very first day of using Alive, you're going to notice a big difference in your energy level. You'll likely feel much calmer, and many folks report that their mood is significantly better from day one. Which makes sense, since Alive is helping to support the production of dopamine. And stable dopamine levels are associated with calmness, focus, improved mood. Then after, the weight loss starts happening. And with each day that goes by, you'll be staring into the mirror and noticing how the fat is disappearing from your stomach, arms, legs, and face. And when it comes to your neck, chin, and cheeks, you may even find that those areas appear tighter, firmer, and younger looking too. That part is a lot of fun, and so is what happens to your skin. The way your wrinkles and fine lines can appear to fade away, while a healthy glow begins to spread across your entire face. It's not uncommon to notice that with weight loss, your aches and pains start to feel better too. Sometimes they disappear altogether. And probably the best part of all is how your friends, family, and colleagues are going to start noticing the changes in you as well. So trust me, they won't be able to hold back their compliments. And I will warn you though, when people are constantly stopping you to ask, "What's your secret?" it can even get a little annoying. Though I hope you'll be patient and remember that these people look at you as a role model now, and they just want to follow in your footsteps. They may not believe you when you tell them that all it takes is one small capsule each morning, right when you wake up. But it's really, really that simple. You simply take 5 seconds at the start of your day to swallow your daily dose of Alive. Add this ritual to your healthy diet and exercise routine, and the pounds can melt away. Plus, what's even more exciting is that I've got a special surprise for you. Something that makes Alive even better at helping you to cut weight from your hips, belly, your neck, and every other part of your body. You see, in addition to those 5 initial ingredients, we consulted with Mike Hamilton and then added 7 more powerful, heavily researched ingredients to Alive, a blend of proven ingredients that have been shown to help support healthy dopamine production and promote healthy weight loss throughout your body. Plus, these same ingredients can have a huge positive impact on your energy and your mood. You see, these ingredients include organic ginger, rhizomine, bioperine, black pepper fruit extract, green coffee extract, acetylene carnitine, high-potency vitamin B3, guarana seed extract, and white willow bark. Each one included at clinically supported dosage for weight loss, energy, dopamine support, and more. Once we added these ingredients in, it was pretty shocking. Folks who had already lost 20 pounds started losing even more weight in less time while reporting that their energy was through the roof. And today you'll find all of these ingredients inside Alive. And now that you've seen how my wife Jenny was able to lose so much fat, and how women and men across the country have been able to do the same thing thanks to the scientifically backed ingredients that Alive contains, well, I want to ask you a real important question. Imagine it's some point in the future and you're looking in the mirror. Who do you want to see staring back at you? A skinnier, sexier, younger looking, and happier you? Or a you who still feels stuck, who is the same weight as you are right now, maybe even heavier? The you who feels tired and exhausted with achy bones and a foggy brain. I want you to be honest with me. Who do you want to see? Of course, the answer is the skinnier, sexier, and younger version of yourself. It would be crazy if it wasn't. And that's why it would break my heart if you missed out on this opportunity that's right in front of you today. And yet, if you don't get your hands on Alive right now, then I don't know what's going to change. If you don't take action today, you may always remain a hostage to your fat, your stomach growing, your face drooping, your skin sagging, more of your former outfits no longer fitting, more feeling ashamed when your spouses see you naked, more anger at yourself than you're this way, more hating that you haven't made these crucial changes to your health. I'm not trying to be harsh. You have my word. But it's my duty to make you think about these things and then to reject them. Because the truth is, it doesn't need to be this way at all. No way, Jose. You can fight back against dopamine spikes, cravings, and fat build-up starting immediately while wowing your friends, family, coworkers, spouse, and everyone else in your life. All it takes is the 12 proven ingredients inside Alive. And here's the great news. Even though we are constantly at risk of running out of bottles of Alive, and when that happens, we can get back ordered for months at a time. So right now, if you're on this page, it means we've got at least some bottles in stock. But if you're ready to truly transform every aspect of your life, you need to act now before we run out of bottles again. Alive is so powerful and so effective that word has already gotten out. Men and women across America are discovering this amazing formula for themselves. And that means we've got a big problem of supply versus demand. Our warehouse shelves are constantly at risk of going bare, and we're constantly worried about running out of Alive. Whenever that happens, men and women are forced to wait months for the next batch of Alive to be produced. And I don't want you to have to wait, which is why we've set aside a small handful of Alive for people to order from this website only. As long as you're one of the next 217 people who order today, you'll receive your supply of Alive rushed right to your doorstep. Oh, and I know how annoying it can be to order something online only to be charged every month automatically. So you can rest easy that you won't be charged again after this order unless you come back to our website and manually order more. So if you're ready to start burning pound after pound of ugly fat, you really need to act right now. Think about how much you've probably spent on other so-called weight loss solutions in the last 5 years, between trips to the grocery store for organic veggies, worthless guides, glossy cookbooks, cheap pills, spin classes, gym memberships, and everything else the weight loss industry has shoved down your throat. Is it safe to say that you've invested at least $900 in the past 5 years in your efforts to lose weight? Maybe $2,000 or even $5,000? If you have, don't be embarrassed. There's a reason the weight loss industry rakes in over $72 billion a year in the United States alone. And yet, right now, you have the opportunity to put the end to this addictive cycle of diet fail, diet fail, diet fail. And even though that's gotten to be pretty much priceless, right now, you can get a single 30-day supply of Alive for a one-time investment of just $69. That's right, just $2.30 per day to burn through pound after pound of your most hated body fat, to potentially feel as though you're turning back the clock, to support healthy blood sugar, healthy cholesterol levels already in the normal range, and to elevate your energy and your mood. Yet while that's already an incredible opportunity, less than the cost of a single gallon of gas in most cases, it's actually still just the start. You see, because so many folks become obsessed with the results that they get from Alive, and because so many folks have a lot of weight to lose and are so motivated to keep that weight off, virtually all of our customers end up ordering 6 bottles of Alive at a time. And the few who don't nearly always get 3 bottles instead. It makes sense, especially since it's so hard to keep Alive on the shelves. And there's nothing worse than using this 5-second-a-day breakfast trick, finding out that you are becoming lighter and happier every single day. But then you come back to this website and you see a big banner that reads "out of stock." That sucks big time, and it's not worth the risk. And since so many of our customers are making the smart decision to stock up on 6 bottles of Alive at a time, well, Jenny and I have decided to do something really special here and provide an even bigger discount of Alive to folks when they stock up. So right now, when you get a 3-month supply, it'll only be $59 per bottle, which is just $1.96 per day. And even better, if you make the most popular choice and stock up on a 6-month supply, Alive is just $49 per bottle, which brings your daily investment in your weight loss to just $1.63 per day. I mean, think about it. National minimum wage is $7.25 per hour, yet for just $1.63, about 1/35 of what someone on minimum wage makes during a typical 8-hour shift, you can get your daily dose of this science-based weight loss formula, something that can have the pounds melting off your very first week. So go ahead and choose your package right now. You'll see a table appear beneath this video with 3 different money-saving options to choose from. And select the 6-bottle option, or the 3-bottle option, or whatever is best for you. Then click the Add to Cart button, and you'll be taken right to our 256-bit secure order page that looks like this. From there, just fill in your information and confirm your order on our 100% safe and secure form, and we'll get your package sent directly to your door right away. And even better, I want you to know that because we're so absolutely confident you'll experience head-turning results and a transformation unlike anything you've ever seen before, this investment in your weight loss is completely guaranteed. It works like this. You get a 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee when you order Alive today, with no questions asked either. Right now, you simply say maybe to Alive, get it in the mail, and start using it. I'm 100% positive it's going to work for you. But if I'm wrong, for any reason at all, if this doesn't turn out to be the best decision you've ever made in your life, or if you simply change your mind for no reason at all, just call or email our team at any point over the next 60 days and we'll refund your purchase right away. Our team doesn't hide from you. We're extremely easy to get hold of, so there's no risk to you here, except the risk of not taking action today and spending the months and years to come living with regret. Right now, though, you've got 2 full months to try out Alive and see the amazing impact that this formula will have on your health, your mood, your skin, and your energy, and everything else. And only after those 2 months do you even need to decide. So go ahead and select your money-saving package below and follow in the footsteps of the women and men who have come before you and got success. This presentation is now ending, and this is the time for you to answer the call. Remember what you've learned today. The reason you might have failed in the past is not because you're lazy or weak or you don't have any willpower. It's not even because of your metabolism or because of your genetics. It all starts in your brain. And unless you're getting a healthy, consistent supply of dopamine, your brain is always going to be craving junk food and sweets and empty calories that keep you frustrated and feeling stuck. And that's what makes Alive so powerful. It addresses what's going on in your brain first. And of course, it doesn't stop there, because Alive also has some of the most proven fat-burning ingredients ever discovered. And these ingredients are all included in their purest, strongest form, which means you don't just burn a little fat when you use Alive, you feel so much better too. So go ahead and make this small investment in your weight loss today by choosing one of the money-saving packages that you see below. Right now, you've really only got two options. The first one is to not click on one of the packages, of course. I'm not going to hard sell you on this, so that's totally a choice that you need to make. But it's hard for me to understand why you would walk away, especially when Alive is proven to help reduce body fat and support your healthy diet and exercise habits, and comes with a stronger than steel money-back guarantee. Why gamble with your weight, with your health? I can't understand why you would, which is why, to me, your second choice makes so much more sense. That's the choice where you invest in Alive today and tell the world that you're ready to change your life. It's the choice where you become a role model and an inspiration to your family and your friends and everyone who knows you. This is the decision that leads you down a beautiful new road in your life, one where the very near future looks so bright. You wake up and find yourself smiling from ear to ear, and where you spring out of bed filled with energy, then waltz right over to your mirror. You can't help it. You stare at yourself. But where your reflection used to be embarrassment and fear, now it's filling you with immense pride. Your stomach won't stop shrinking. Maybe you can even see abs starting to emerge with a little exercise. And your skin so healthy, it almost reminds you of a newborn baby. You feel light, you feel happy, and truly alive. That's the future I want for you. And it all starts when you choose one of those packages you see below and make this small investment in your weight loss and in yourself. And I know you're going to make the right decision. On behalf of Jenny and myself, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this presentation. And God bless you. Hey, you still here? Well, that's great. It's actually pretty common for folks to take a moment to absorb everything that they've just seen and heard, especially since what I shared with you is unlike anything you've ever heard before, right? So if you still got some question, well, I totally get it. I understand. And right now, I'm going to go ahead and spend a few moments answering some FAQs that other folks just like you have sent in. That way, when you do invest in Alive today, you can feel 100% confident in your decision. Number one, is Alive really going to work? That's the number one question that people have. And it makes perfect sense. If you knew for 100% certainty that within just a few short days of beginning to take Alive each and every morning, your fat would start to disappear, and you'd feel as though you were turning back the clock. You'd have already chosen your package and checked out for sure. And right now, you probably want to do exactly that. But you're also thinking, well, in the past, you've seen lots of those too good to be true promises about losing weight, and you're worried that Alive might not be any different. If that's you, I totally get it. But here's what you need to understand. The reason Alive works when nothing else has is because it targets the one key to weight loss that nobody has ever told you about before. Your brain. That's the thing. Think about it. Your brain craves dopamine. So, lots of unhealthy foods trigger dopamine's release. And that's why when you cut those foods out, your body freaks out. That's why diets are all impossible in the long run. But it's also why even if you buy some fat-burning supplement at the store or on Amazon, you normally won't get any results. See, those ingredients might actually be pretty good at supporting your metabolism, but unless they also support the healthy production of dopamine in your brain, then you'll just be stuck on a seesaw, up and down, where you burn some fat one day, but give in to cravings and create new fat in your body the next day. That's what makes Alive so unique. You see, it contains scientifically proven ingredients that help support dopamine production, so you don't have cravings. Then it also contains scientifically proven ingredients that help you burn fat when combined with healthy diet and exercise. It's a 1-2 combination that helps support fat, and there's nothing else like it on earth. And that's why the answer needs to be yes. I know that Alive is going to work for you, absolutely. Number 2, who is Alive for? Well, Alive is for everyone, no matter what your age or how much weight you'd like to lose. The ingredients have been shown in rigorous studies to be safe yet effective. Oh, and remember that Alive is all natural, so regardless if you have 8 pounds to lose or 108, Alive can be the game changer that you've been looking for. Of course, with that being said though, if you currently have a medical condition or you're taking other prescription medications, we do advise you to show a bottle of Alive to your doctor first. Number 3, when should I take Alive? Just take 1 small capsule each morning with breakfast. The reason that it's recommended to take it in the morning is because Alive does contain green coffee extract and guarana, 2 ingredients that are natural sources of caffeine. And this caffeine is counterbalanced by the theacrine you'll find inside Alive. So there's no crash or jitters. But given the flood of energy you're going to experience with Alive, it makes the most sense to make Alive a part of your morning routine, especially since it just takes about 5 seconds to swallow your capsule with your breakfast. Number 4, what are the terms of the guarantee again? 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee, 0 questions asked. If you change your mind about your investment for any reason, simply call or email our team and we'll issue a prompt refund. No questions asked, no headaches, no hassles. Number 5, is there anything else I should know about Alive? Well, it's important to remember that each capsule is made right here in the United States, so you're supporting U.S. jobs with your order. The manufacturing facility that produces Alive is also state-of-the-art. It's certified for good manufacturing practices, and that's a big deal. You see, many manufacturing facilities can't get this certification. It's quality. You have to be really clean and really have strict manufacturing standards. And our facilities are clean. Our standards are absurdly strict. And that's why we're certified when most other people aren't. Also, you should know that there's no subscription or auto billing trickery here. That's important. Your investment is a one-time purchase with no fine print. And finally, you should know that we really are frequently at risk of running out of bottles of Alive. The demand is exceptionally high, especially given the success stories others are having with this breakthrough product. And that's why, if you are ready to transform your body, you need to act right away, right now. Number 6, how do you get started? This is the easiest and most fun part. You simply select one of the packages that you see below this video right now. Each one will save you a ton of money, but the 6-bottle package has the biggest savings of all. Then, once you've chosen your package and click the Add to Cart button, you'll go to one of our 100% safe, secure checkout pages where you'll complete your order. After that, it'll be just a few short days before Alive is delivered straight to your door. And I can't wait for you to try it and start seeing how quickly those pounds come off.